We are a country that was born like every other country. Every continent had slaves. In the South, most houses, most plantations had slaves. Nobody condones it. But without those slave owners, we don't have a country. So you make your choice. I mean, if you don't like our country, travel. And if you find a place better, stay. And stop messing with our past.
Okay, says Brian Kilmeade, the guy who admittedly the country cried out for, we need your commentary on slavery. Everybody wanted it and now it's here, so that's good. Now look, he's making a lot of claims there that some would take issue with, but the mistake that he made is that he made those comments, including telling people who don't like it here to leave, on Charlie Kirk's show. And you know there's gonna be tough follow-up questions. No, there aren't. Charlie Kirk agrees with literally all of that. So that's what it is. We're gonna get into a little bit more of what Kilmeade had to say, and then we're gonna break it down just a little bit. Here's some more.
In the beginning, I thought it was just gonna be great just to be an opportunity to sell books. Now it's like a mission on a war to win the war on history. Because the 1619 Project was the formal first salvo, but it's been happening for quite a long time. Nobody was ever ducking our past. I don't know what people are talking about. And no one ever said, oh, segregation, not that bad. Slavery, well, it happens. Nobody, Republican or Democrat, especially because most of these people were Democrats. They kept on pushing to keep it and tried to almost reinstall it in the 20th century.
Okay, so there's a lot that is great, and we're gonna talk about this. Yaz, I just want to point out the whiplash from him saying, no one ever said, oh, segregation, not that bad. Slavery, well, it happens. Dude had just said, our country, like every country, had slavery. There's no country that doesn't have slavery. That's, well, it happens. It's also utterly inaccurate. No, every country didn't have slavery, you dumb donkey. What are you talking about? They particularly did not have slavery like we did, entrenched, government supported, pervasive, multi-century slavery that relied on a massive trade, the transatlantic trade. Like no, it's not the same thing as every other country. And I need to tell this not just to like Brian Kilmeade, like foolish guy on the couch, but Brian Kilmeade, guy who now wants to teach the world about American history. I'm suspecting he might not be up to the task, but Yaz, what do you think?
What did you say? Slavery? Like, well, it happened. I mean, yeah, I guess. My favorite part of the whole thing was that he had that picture of George Washington's bust right here. So he looked like George Washington was just perched on his shoulder like a parrot or something like that. I couldn't stop looking at it the whole time. But I mean,
100%. Yeah, continue.
Empires do take a lot of labor to build them, right? It doesn't need to be slave labor. And the problem that a lot of people have with particularly the Republican conservative angle on slavery is that, yeah, it did happen, but you can acknowledge that it happened and that we're still dealing with ongoing repercussions of it happening for so long. In such an institutionalized way, as you were talking about. And they kind of like just want to pretend like, oh, it happened and then move on. Like that's enough. And for a lot of people, it really isn't. There's so many reasons why slavery has, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of stunted the American growth in this country in a lot of different ways. I think what he's trying to argue is that because of slavery, America was able to grow into this empire and into this country because we had free labor for so long. But going forward, a lot of, Black families, the descendants of these slaves, they were stunted as far as, what they could do to grow economically on their own. And as a whole country, we are worse off for it. And we are asking the Republicans, the conservative Americans to acknowledge that and maybe do something about it. But Brian Kilmeade wants to be like, yeah, it happened. Isn't that enough? Like, it happened.
Yeah, it's amazing. So many of those points, like, well, that's how we grew. Well, yeah, if you treat entire populations of people like animals that aren't deserving of pay or respect or rights or anything, yeah, you can extract a lot of value out of that to a significantly lesser extent in a new form. That's kind of how a lot of corporations generate the massive wealth that they do. They don't give us our due, they just steal it from us. But for me, it's more like, I'm gonna set aside the you couldn't have had America without slavery thing. Like, man, the like just the willful theoretical apathy towards historic evils is so weird from a guy who wants to be seen as now a thinker. Let's set aside that. And let's just take the America that we have. We do have America thanks to slavery, like he said. I don't disagree with that. I disagree with where he wants to go from that. Because as you say, he's like, nobody's discounting slavery. Nobody's minimizing it, which 100% yes. Many people, including conservatives, have done that. But let's just whatever, that's accept it. You make your choice, he says. Okay, that's one way to go from that. How about this? I agree. We would not have America without the historic evil and the exploitation and the rape and the murder and the families being broken up and the abuse and all of that. So let's do something about that. You now accept that that is integral to America and it was evil. You accept both of those things. So you just want to throw your hands up now? The apathy in that. No, we're going to do something about it. We're going to make sure that there is not one single vestige of that structural racism left in American industry or government, society, culture, any of that. And we're going to make good for the theft and the murder and the rape and all of that happened through reparations. Like you could go in such a different direction from the argument that he's making, even if you accept it. But of course, he's not going to question that. Charlie Kirk is just going to enthusiastically applaud this entire thing. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, he also mentioned the war on history. We're at war with history now. I can't keep up. I don't want to be at war with history. It's too much.
Yeah, we have a war with info. We have a war with history. There's a war with Christmas. It's too many wars. I'm anti-war.
I forgot about the war on Christmas. Man, see, I can't.
Oh, it's back. I don't know if you saw, but there was a gay nutcracker.
What? No, I didn't see this.
We may never recover. We may never recover.
Unimaginable. What is this country coming to?
Not gonna last much longer.